first question today basically speaks to the idea of the final years of R.E.M. and where I feel that band may have ended in relation to their last few releases. The first part of that is actually really easy for me, as in my opinion, R.E.M. ends and ceases to exist when Bill Berry left the band in late 1997. It's really that simple for me. The band was those four guys, nobody else. But at the same time, once you cement that idea in your head, you can actually look at those last four records in a completely different manner. As they're not R.E.M. albums to me, it's almost like they're an R.E.M. side project. I really don't agree with how heavily the critics pan those records, but at the same time, I don't think most critics knew what to do with R.E.M. once they got away from standard rock and started to be musically creative. Are those last 4 or 5 albums my favorite work of Michael Stipe? Absolutely not, but they're definitely worth spinning. My next question generally asks me why I've been getting so pissed off at bands working with certain companies or playing at certain venues. This was no doubt fueled by when a few weeks ago Gogol Bordello decided to play an in-store at Urban Outfitters. But I can easily put this same idea into a far more general context. For some bands, not all bands, I enjoy them for more than the music. I enjoy them for what they stand for. This is probably a product of the punk and hardcore scenes that I grew up in. And it's not something that I put onto a band or anything like that, it's something the band does on their own. That is to say, if a band is anti-corporate, anti-big label, anti-anything like that. And if you're one of those bands, if you're gonna take a stand, you better stick to it. Bands like Pearl Jam have been doing this for years, and they still fight to ensure that their fans have the best tickets in the house, that ticket prices are as reasonable as they're able to make them, and that the fans still get really cool bonus things from them over the years. They know they can't fight things like Live Nation and Ticketmaster, but they fight the fights they're able to. But when a band like Gogol Bordello, who I love beyond words, decide that they're gonna do an in-store at a store that is notorious for being both racist and homophobic, I'm gonna have a problem with that. As for me, it goes against everything that band stands for. Their music is all about acceptance and equality in this giant world party. So I expect them to take a similar approach in the companies they choose to do business with. Artists and bands aren't perfect, but that doesn't mean that I'm not gonna get upset when they compromise themselves like that. My last question is one I get quite often, and it asks whether or not I've ever changed my thoughts about an album in hindsight. Oh god, yes, more times than I can count, and it happens on a pretty regular basis. Until I was probably about 20 or so, there were entire genres that I wouldn't delve into because they just didn't sound good to me. And since then, in a number of those genres, I've found amazing music that I love. But more specifically, there are records and songs from everyone from Willie Nelson to Guns N' Roses to Jay-Z that I didn't like at first listen, but over the years have grown on me. With everything in life, be careful of writing something off completely, as your brain and your experiences will change over the years, and so will your taste. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with saying you were wrong about something because it means you're enjoying more good music. So those are my questions for this time. If you've got a question for me, make sure you email me at thedailyguru@gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter and Facebook right here, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow.